is it? 6:24.
I'm gonna be interested to see what they do in temple districts. That would be interesting to see.
There she is. Welcome, Councilmember Johnson. We are excited to have you here. We said the last person here has to stand up and tell jokes for about 5 minutes till it's time for do some stand-up comedy. Let's see. I'll look at this for a second. Let's see, we got some meeting.
It's really makes sense. So it's been discussed.
And we got, let's see, we had RFP, submittals, back, committee, evaluating, okay.
It's really
Let's see.
Does councilman after it's declares conflict of interest? And is this policy for the golf passes?
That's a good question.
Because they
Would it affect them?
would affect them, absolutely.
Councilman Erickson and Walker did have to declare conflict of interest on that golf change.
Do you have to recuse yourself on the golf pass thing? Why is that? Because it affects you directly.
Monetary benefit.
Yeah, might
Where's our attorney? I don't know.
he left. Yeah.
He never said that when I talked to him.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to talk about that.
Our attorney's not gonna be here, so
We may not.
We need to table it.
let me really fast.
Yeah, you could call
You
him.
and Mike, it would affect both of you.
Yeah, because Mike would be the same way. Is Councilmember Walker online? Yeah, I know he was going to try to zoom in. He's online. Okay, Councilmember Walker, can you hear us on there? Oh,
Yes.
Online?
Can you hear me? Hello?
I thought I heard something.
Mike, talk again. We're not hearing you very well.
Can you hear me now?
Sort of.
Yeah, we're a little bit better. Still a little faint, but could hear you better that time.
How about now? Now better?
No, not really. You're gonna have to shout. But we won't make you talk too much, so just if you can vote, or if you've got something that you need to say, you'll have to try to get close to the mic and talk fairly loud, it seems like. So,
Perfect.
all right. Well, it's 6:28. We don't start till 6:30, so we'll just stall here for a minute. But we will welcome you all here. It looks like we've got a high school assignment due tomorrow, apparently. Yeah, we welcome all of you high school students here to see how your local government works. and welcome any other visitors that we have with us here tonight. Always glad to have Brett Crandall here. You're welcome, representing BYU Idaho. Welcome, gentlemen. Come on in. Come on in and have a seat. You're welcome to go on the A row right here on the front row if you'd like. Any of these your students, Councilmember Reeser?
No, I teach government B, so
Oh.
my students have already
Already done it,
completed
huh?
this last trimester. So.
Okay, all right, good.
But I have been conducting many an interview.
All right, yeah, and there are a few that put it off till last minute. I had one text today asking if I could meet between 5 and 6, and unfortunately, I was driving home from Pocatello at that time, so wasn't
Now we
able to
have 13,
accompany
so.
that for. All right, it is 6:30, so we will officially convene this city council city council meeting for February the 21st of 2024. We'd like to start out, as we always do, with an opening prayer. I've asked Councilmember Reeser to offer that for us, after which we will have Councilmember Eric Erickson lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful at this time to meet together as a city council and concerned citizens of Rexburg, and ask that thy spirit will be with us this day, that we might be able to make wise decisions, that we might be able to listen to one another, that we might be civil, and that we might have the best interests of the citizens of the city of Rexburg in our hearts. We're grateful for all the blessings that thou hast given unto us, and we ask that thou might help us as we help each other create and continue this fine community. And we ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand. Repeat after me the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. All right, we'd like to start out our meeting tonight with a roll call of the council members. Mary, would you do that for us, please?
Councilmember Johnson. Here. Councilmember Chambers.
Here.
Councilmember C. Erickson.
Here.
Councilmember E. Erickson.
Here.
Councilmember Reeser.
Here.
And Council President Walker.
Here.
Okay, sounds like everyone is present and accounted for. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. All right, let's move on with our agenda to item number, let's see, we actually, just for your information, we had an earlier meeting with Madison County, Sugar City, and City of Rexburg folks discussing the planning for the anniversary of the Teton Dam flood commemoration. We want to do a commemoration, that'll be in 2026, so that gives us a couple of years to plan it. And we want to have some informative bus tours and different kind of things, things that will help people to understand what the community went through, and there'll be films and memory sharing and a lot of different things going on there. So that's something to plan for and look forward to in a couple of years. And we also talked about reorganizing the Madison County Historical Society, because the longtime director of that, Mr. Lewis Clements, has served long and well, very well, and but he is approaching, well, I guess I was going to say approaching the age of retirement, but he's 85, so I guess he's well past the age of retirement, and wants to actually retire from that job. So we're going to try to reorganize that with a new leader and a group of energized citizens that are interested in helping us to have the history of Madison County and Sugar City and Rexburg documented, right? Okay, at this point then, we'd like to, item number 5 is to amend the agenda. We need to add an executive session as per Idaho State Statute 74-2044B. That is to include item 13, which is to talk about land and some different things like that we need to consider. And so I would entertain a motion at this point in time to amend the agenda as per that state statute, please.
Mr. Mayor, I also move that we amend agenda.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Chambers. We do need a roll call vote to amend the agenda, so Mary, would you go ahead with that roll call vote at this time again, please?
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember C. Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember E. Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeser,
Yes.
Council President Walker.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We will add that, amend the agenda and add the executive session at the end of this meeting. Okay, item number 6 is our public comment time. This is a time for public comments, for anyone who is here that would like to make the council aware of anything around town or things that we feel like we need to be aware of. If there's anyone that would like to do so, we'd like to ask you to come to the podium here and state your name and address. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment at this time? Seeing none, I'm giving you one last opportunity here. So, okay, seeing none. Is there anyone online? Is there anyone online besides Councilmember Walker? All right. Okay, then we will move to item number 7, which is our committee assignments. And we have, all of the council members are assigned to certain committees that have to do with different things around the city. And you can see those as noted on your agenda, if you picked one of those up. So we would like to go ahead with those at this time. And let's see, we can start, we could just start with what we've got here. And MEPI is first. Councilmember Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. MEPI is looking at initiating a program called Economic Gardening. It's where we identify 4 or 5 businesses in the community. They're typically stage 2 community or businesses, which means they've gone beyond the startup phase. They have 10 or more employees. They've got 600,000 or more in annual revenue, but they're on the cusp of just breaking into bigger markets, but they need help doing that. It's really a program that helps them scale up to be more profitable. And it's about a $4,700 per business enterprise or activity. And you contract with this economic gardening group, and they do high-end research that helps the business identify these new markets, obstacles to the markets, other opportunities. And they've had great success in helping these businesses grow. So we're in the process of exploring that, potentially identifying businesses that may want to participate. And so I'll keep you updated on that. That's MEPI. Should I just keep going?
Yes, that'd be fine. Looks like they're organized kind of in groups.
Urban renewal, we've got a major city center project underway. We've got 3 blocks that we're looking at redeveloping, and we put out a request for proposals. We have responses now to those proposals. We're in the process of evaluating them to determine who we will contract with to perform the work and the redevelopment projects. And these are likely going to be mixed-use kinds of developments, retail, office, and residential all stacked on top of each other in the downtown, and even hospitality restaurants. So we're excited about that. We should have a decision by, what was it, Mayor, mid-March, I
Yes.
think. Cultural arts, I haven't gone to the website, but there is a Rexburg Arts website. If you go there, you'll see all the activities that are available. And for example, I think just last week we had the barbershop quartet performance here. I think that's it, Mayor.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And I will add, there's also a Rexburg Arts Facebook page that has a lot of information on it too. So, all right, and let's see, and maybe you'll just comment, Robert, too, since you're on this grants committee. We haven't had a lot of activity there lately, although Mary would probably like to say otherwise because she's the one that works on it all the time. But I would like to report, because in my State of the City speech I reported, we did a little quick research, and we found that because of Mary's good work, as well as the team that she works with here, some of our department heads and different people that she works with to do grant applications, that the city of Rexburg received over $15 million worth of different kinds of grants last year, which is really good news, because that's $15 million less that we have to come up with in our budget to accomplish some of the things that we want to accomplish. So we'd like to thank Mary for her hard work on that, as well as everybody who helped out with that, because that's really a great accomplishment. Okay, let's see, school board, Councilmember Erickson, do you have anything to report on that?
Just a couple things. I reached out to Mr. Lords and tried to get hold of him, was unable to, but I just want to report that the girls did make it to state last week, and the boys won districts last night. We'll be going to state. Their first game will be on the 29th, next Thursday. And I don't know who they're going to play yet, but that's exciting from the school.
Yeah. And the wrestlers are on their way to state this weekend too, and
The wrestlers
the
are-
cheerleaders. So there's a lot going on. Okay, thank you. Let's see, anything else? Councilmember Johnson, do you have anything from any of your committees to report?
No, but I was wondering for beautification, I guess, I'm not sure, I was working through Jeff to do the Eagle Park cleanup every spring. Who do you think I should work? I could ask that later, but I just need to know who to,
Yeah, and John can probably continue that. I'll check with him and see.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. And then I am excited about I saw the Engage Rexburg, the monthly meeting, the invite to have a monthly meeting to talk about the things on Engage Rexburg. And I'm excited about that. I think that's a good move so we can kind of see what residents are, writing on there and what we could do to implement some other strategies or address their concerns, so.
yeah, that's a good platform. All right, let's see, Emergency Services Board. Let's see, I'll just ask, Councilmember Erickson, do you have anything from any of your committees that you need to report?
Well, Parks and Rec Committee meets weekly. The staff of the city, and there's a lot of projects in the works that they're working on. There's a project at Smith Park that to create an inclusive area in the playground area for those that are disabled or in some way need the recreation, but in a different way. And I think that's a project that will be developing this spring and adding to that playground area. There's lots of discussion about pickleball courts, and
Always.
and there'll be some things I think happen there in the next few months, but that seems to be a big demand for the city, is pickleball courts. So we need to make some decisions regarding that. Steiner, the new park on Fifth West, South End Park, Steiner Park is also in the planning stages right now, just some layout issues, and then some discussion with BYU Idaho about the possibility of teaming up with them to increase the size of that park. And then continuing work on the Teton River Park and design. It's in the design phases right now, but some real good things will be happening there. And then one other kind of exciting thing is the fact that there's some discussion about some private-public partnerships to develop some additional types of recreation in the city. So I think we'll hear more about that as we go forward. So.
Yep, that'll be good. One thing I might throw out there too, since we're kind of in the Parks and Rec mode here with the trails, I don't know if we had a chance to announce this yet, but Mary informed us that we received another grant award just a couple of weeks ago that is the money that we've requested to complete the trail that goes along the river and a bridge to go across the river down there by where the new park is going to be. So that'll help us to be able to make that trail a better, more complete loop, to be able to access that trail along the river. So that's a pretty exciting thing too. So unfortunately, we get notice that we've been awarded these grants, and they put them on a list, and usually that list is about 5 or 6 years long, and so it's usually about that many years before we actually get the money, so we won't be able to start on that right away, but at least we're on the list, which is always good, because as time goes by, then we'll be able to do that. So anyway, all right, let's move on. Councilmember Reeser, did you have any reports from any of your committee assignments?
Yeah, I met with the Legacy Flight Museum a couple of weeks ago, and they are busy with preparations for the air show in mid-June or early June. And so they've got some different airplanes coming in with different pilots. They're looking at vendors for food, and of course, parking is always a challenge, but they've got some good plans on how we can accommodate that kind of thing. So those are all in the works, and they are talking about acquiring some new things, and we saw that there were some items, a plane and a truck, that were put on surplus recently. So yeah, they're actively involved, and got a new member on the board, and they're ready to go.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, and just remind me too, I'll try to find it in my contacts, but there's a young lady that's been attending the local Kiwanis Club meeting, and I mentioned to her that we have this Mayor's Youth University Student Committee that we're trying to kind of get organized, and she was interested in that too. So I'll send you her contact information if I can find it, and if not, I think I'll see her tomorrow. So, okay. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Unless there was anything else that needs to be brought up on committee assignments, was there anything else that anybody thought of? Okay. And we'll move on to item number 8, which is our finance report, and we will turn the time over to Mr. Scott Miller. Oh, there he is right there, okay, for our finance reports.
All right, not too much different than what would have been reported last month. As far as funds that are above the 33% that we would, the amount of time that we've spent for the year so far. We've got the High Five grant, which of course, we bought that food trailer, which is why that's showing such a high percentage. We have sanitation operations is a little bit high, but that's because of some capital that, purchases that we've made, so that's really on line with where it needs to be. The new road construction, we've had a couple of projects through, and sorry, this is on Fund 44, so at 37%. We've got the railroad crossing there at that roundabout over by the Bodify gym, and as well as the sidewalk over that same area. Our 717% on Fund 83 is just because we've got a pass-through for that grant for the entrepreneurial center through Altura. So we've gotten the money that's come in, and then we're just giving it back out. So we didn't budget for that, so that's why it's showing it such a high percentage, but it's right on course. So, and then Shop with a Cop is at 105%, and that's a program that's been done for a while. So, Colin?
Scott, would you just explain that a little bit more on that pass-through so that everybody understands that? I don't know if the public understands that pass-through.
You bet.
They see 717% over, and that.
Absolutely,
that's a red
happy
flag
to.
there. I just want to make sure everybody understands that pass-through.
So what happens there is that's money that's really meant for this project that another entity is doing in conjunction with the city. So there's a new entrepreneurial center that's going to be built. And so we received a grant for that, but the grant had to come to us. It was not allowed to go straight to them. We had to receive it, and then we in turn just pay that straight out. And so when we set the budget, we didn't have those amounts at hand, so we didn't put those into the budget. But that's money that's coming into us, and we're handing it right back out as per the terms of the grant. And so that's why that's showing up that way. But again, that's why that's not alarming to us when we look at that from a financial perspective, so.
And just another point is that the reason it has to come to us is because these particular grants have to be managed through a city or a county. I think they can't just go to an organization that's not a governmental type organization. So it has to be accepted by a city or a county and then passed through to that group, so.
Exactly. All right.
If I'm not mistaken, there's much more to come through this.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be a lot more. Okay, is there any other questions about the budget report from anyone? Okay, thank you, Scott, appreciate that. We'll move on to item number 2, which is a new policy adoption on season pass discount for qualified city and county retired employees. Councilmember Erickson has been visiting with the golf board, I guess?
Yes, and Mr.
About
Mayor,
this?
just because it brought up earlier about there might be a conflict of interest because legal's not here. I've emailed him or texted him. He's not answering. We might want to table this, so I'm gonna,
Okay,
if there's any discussion, I'd move to this table till next city council.
yeah, I think that's good, because there are a couple things that I have concerns about on it, so I think it'd be maybe good to, to talk about that a little bit more before we
I
bring
mean,
it
if
up.
legal's here, we could ask them right now, but they're not. I'd rather have that question answered just because it brought to attention, so
Yeah.
I would move to table this until the next city council.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Johnson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will table that motion and move that to our agenda for next time. All right, item number B1 is our Public Works report with Mr. Keith Davidson. Item number 1 is a bid approval for the Tabernacle Historic Stone Restoration.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So we received 2 bids on that for our tabernacle restoration project. So this is the repointing of the masonry. And our low bid was Hydrotech at $569,400. And we would recommend awarding that contract to them.
All right, that looks good. That bids came in pretty well. When you see them that close on that big of an amount, that means that hopefully they know what they're doing.
And-
So, yes,
Question, and wasn't it supposed to be more? Don't we have more than that budget?
budget was higher.
We do, yeah, we estimated higher than that, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay, all right, that's good. We're got some good bids there. So at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to accept the low bid on this item.
Mr. Mayor, I will make that motion.
Okay, thank you. So that motion would be that we accept the Hydrotech bid for $569,400. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. We'll move on to item number 2.
All right, this is, the second item is just, we bid out a new traffic signal at Trejo in Yellowstone Highway. And so we had 3 bidders on that. Swiftwater was our low bid at $489,400. And we're recommending that we award that to Swiftwater.
Okay, is there any questions about this?
Just Keith, just one question, looking at the other ones, I recognize other companies, I do not recognize Swiftwater. Have we worked with that company? Have we done a history on that company?
Yeah, so we looked into them. We haven't done work with them. We did look into and visit with them on capabilities of performing this contract, and we felt confident that they could perform it.
So we're good, okay.
All right. Hearing that, is there a motion to accept the bid on this particular project?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we accept the bid on the Trejo Yellowstone Highway Traffic Signal Project to Swiftwater for $489,400.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Reeser. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that bid passes, or that motion is approved, and we will move to item number 3.
So the last one is, the city is looking at surplusing 4 archive storage devices. They're Western Digital MyCloud PR4100, and we're surplusing them without the hard drives on it.
Okay, is there any questions about these items before we move on this surplus item? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to surplus these devices.
I'll make a motion that we surplus these devices as stated.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions or anything that you need to ask Mr. Davidson about? I know we did have a water leak over on Second West, but it looked like I went by there today and there was no water running down the gutter anymore, so apparently we got it taken.
Yeah, our water department took care of it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I appreciate our water department. I called Chuck, our water department supervisor, on Saturday, I think it was, and they were already aware of it and had put up cones and, were taking care of it. So I appreciate our water department for being on top of those kind of things, even on the weekend. So it's good. All right, item number 9 is mayor's report and business. The only thing that I have to report is I'll pass this just up and down the line here a little bit. This is the report from, I was in Pocatello at 3 o'clock for this meeting. It's called the East Idaho Partnership. And the partnership is cities and counties all up and down eastern Idaho and clear over to Burley area. But we all contribute to help support what they call a SAUSA, which is a Special Assistant United States Attorney. That's a person who works with the federal judicial system down in Pocatello, and when they get certain crimes, and most of them have to do with drugs and guns and that kind of violence, a lot of our law enforcement people will turn those cases over to this particular person, and they will prosecute them in the federal system instead of in the state system. And which is good because, one, then the federal government pays for these people to be incarcerated in federal prisons, so the state doesn't have to pay for it. And we also generally remove them to a prison that's a lot further away and kind of out of the area, so that because amazingly enough, sometimes apparently these prisoners can still run their rings and things like that from inside the prison if they still got connections. So this removes them a lot further out of their areas and things like that to try to break up those kind of things from happening. So anyway, I'm the legislative liaison for this group, and so I always report to the legislature. The Department of Corrections and the legislators pay for 75% of the cost of this person, and the cities group, cities and counties, pays 25%. So I always submit a report to them on how much money we've saved the state, so that they'll feel good about their investment and that kind of thing. So it's an important meeting to go to. We did celebrate the retirement of one of our city employees, Don Perry, at the wastewater department. Had a retirement party just the other day, and he is doing well, and hopefully he'll be able to find some good things to do with his retirement time. So, and as Council Member Chambers mentioned, we were excited to get back some good proposals for our downtown project, and you'll be hearing more about that. We have a committee that is meeting to evaluate those projects and see how we want to move forward on that. So that's pretty exciting too. So, unless there's any questions or comments for me on anything, we will move on to item number 10, or actually item number 11, because we have nothing on item number 10. So item number 11A is a second reading. Just for the high school students in here, when we pass an ordinance, it is considered first read. because basically we read the ordinance and we consider it and we either pass it or don't pass it, but if it does pass, it's considered first read. Now, all ordinances that we pass, the rules are that they have to be read 3 times, or they have to be considered 3 times, or voted on 3 times, and those are called readings. So, item number A is ordinance number 1309, which was the creation of a local improvement district 53, and that has been passed and first read, so I would entertain a motion at this time for ordinance number 1309 to be considered second read. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Councilmember Eric Erickson. Any discussion or questions on that item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, we will consider that ordinance number 1309 second read.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a question on that particular one. Were there any additions to that? After the discussion we had at our last meeting, were there any additions, any additional members of that, or
People that wanted
residents
to
of
jump on that?
that area that had jumped on the LID?
No one that I'm aware of yet. They are having a meeting. Bill Riggins from up in that neighborhood is kind of hosting that meeting. So I can't remember what date that's happening, but that'll be happening, then we'll go from there.
Has the city reached out to
Yeah, we sent out letters.
all the residents? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that, there may be some more that will jump onto that. So that'll be a couple weeks before we do the third reading of that, so we should have time to do that.
And is a city staff member going to be at the meeting at Bill Riggins then?
Yes.
Oh, you are? Okay, I didn't know. Okay, item number B is the third read item, things that have been second read and need to be third read. We have ordinance number 1307, which is the final assessment roll for Local Improvement District 52, which was finished up last year. Or no, actually it wasn't finished up last year. It is. That's the final assessment roll. So anyway, we need to consider ordinance number 1307 third read. Is there such a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we consider ordinance number 1307 third read.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Reeser. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, ordinance number 1307 is considered third read. Ordinance number 1308, which is the amendment to the Rexburg Development Code, ordinance number 1200, as it pertains to rental requirements, accessory building standards, and other substantive and non-substantive items. Is there any questions or comments about this item? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to consider ordinance 1308 third read.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we consider ordinance number 1308 third read.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will consider ordinance 1308 third read. All right, item number 12 is our consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of the minutes, the approval of the minutes from the February 7th, 2024 meeting, and the approval of the payment of the City of Rexburg bills. Is there any comments or questions about any of these items before we move forward? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion that we approve the consent calendar and pay the bills.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by, I think you were first, Councilmember Chambers. All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will enter the minutes and pay the bills. Okay, we're down to item number 13, which is what we amended the agenda for, and that is to move into executive session per Idaho State Statute 74-2061C to acquire an interest in real property not owned by a public agency. I would entertain a motion at this time to move into executive session.
Mayor also move.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Reeser. All right, we need a roll call vote to move into executive session, so Mary, would you do that, please?
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember C. Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember E. Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeser,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Vote is unanimous. We will move into executive session. So an executive session is when we excuse everyone here and we move into a session which is a closed session. But after the executive session, we do come back into our regular meeting, but all we do is adjourn. So if you want to stick around to see us adjourn, you're welcome to do that. It's not all that exciting, but you might get me here to pound the gavel. But, so yeah, we will go ahead and move in at this time to executive session. And thank you all for being here. We hope you learned a little bit of something about how local government works. And appreciate your attendance here.
Are we going to stand here or
Go in the
front?
conference room.